Isang pagmamalaki at pagkilala sa Philippine Navy sa kanilang kahusayan at pagpapalawak ng seguridad na siyang kinilala ng Pangulo. Pinarangalan ni Pangulong Ferdinand Marcos Jr ang mga kalalakihan at kababaihan ng Philippine Navy sa kanilang 125th anniversary celebration nitong Biyernes, May 26. Sinilip ni Pangulong Ferdinand Marcos Jr ang static photo display ng Philippine Navy matapos ang military honors para sa kanya. Nasaksihan ng Pangulo ang pamamahagi ng parangal sa mga kinikilalang Philippine Navy officers sa kanilang kahusayan at kagalingan sa kanilang serbisyo sa bansa. Noong nakaraang linggo, nakasama ng Pangulo si Vice Admiral Adasi Jr at ipinakita ang mga anti-air warfare capabilities ng Philippine Navy weapons and technologies sa isang live demonstration sa San Antonio, Zambales. Sa mismong kaganapan ngayong araw, ipinakita ng Philippine Navy kay Pangulong Marcos Jr ang dalawang bagong barko ng Pilipinas, ang BRP Domingo de Luana at Hiner Tinangag. Ang malaking kaganapang ito ay pagpapakita ng Philippine Navy sa kanilang pagnanais na maipresenta ang kagalingan at pagpapalakas ng kagamitan at seguridad ng bansa at sinasakupang karagatan para sa mga Pilipino.
The Philippine Navy's 125th anniversary is a significant waypoint to celebrate how far the nation's guardians of the seas have come, while looking back with pride to the rich and inspiring narrative of what was once a small navy. On May 20, 1898, the Filipino flag was hoisted on one of the ships belonging to a small fleet of 8 captured Spanish Navy ships after the Battle of Manila Bay. It marked the beginning of the Revolutionary Navy, considered as the country's first organized navy established through a presidential decree by General Emilio Aguinaldo. The succeeding Commonwealth period gave birth to the establishment of the Offshore Patrol, or OSP, as the sea-going arm of the Philippine Army, with First Lieutenant Jose Andrada as its commanding officer. Dubbed as the Mosquito Fleet and highly regarded as weapons of surprise and opportunity, the OSP, composed of 3 torpedo boats, Luzon Q111, Abra Q112, and Agusan Q113, performed heroically against the invading Japanese Navy and Air Force. Among them was Captain Ramon Alcaraz, the skipper of Q-Boat Abra. He later earned the distinction as the father of the Philippine Marine Corps. In October 1947, the OSP was renamed Philippine Naval Patrol, or PNP, when it became a major command of the Armed Forces of the Philippines. It eventually elevated into a flag command when Jose Andrada was promoted to the rank of Commodore and was designated as the first flag officer in command. In December 1950, the PNP was finally renamed Philippine Navy. From that time on, the Navy, through the gallantry and heroism of the sailors and Marines, once more progressively impressed its mark on our national history. Regional events in the post-war years paved the way for the passing of the AFP Modernization Law in 1995 and later amended in 2012. This era has ushered in the steady transformation and modernization of the Navy's multi-domain capabilities through the acquisitions of modern sea, air, and land platforms with modern systems. And to usher in our 125th anniversary, the Philippine Navy recently embarked on major undertakings that highlighted our leadership role in promoting ASEAN centrality and cooperation, with the hosting of the 17th ASEAN Navy Chiefs Meeting, ASEAN Fleet Review, and the 2nd ASEAN Multilateral Naval Exercise. We also showcased our advancing capabilities to efficiently fulfill our roles in ensuring national sovereignty, security, and stability through the successful demonstration of the launching of AW-159's Blue Shark torpedo and frigate's Bullfighter shaft decoy on May 19. With the steadfast support of the government and the Filipino people, we remain to be a forward-looking Navy at full speed to become modern and multi-capable that is an imperative for our maritime nation's defense and development.
gentlemen, a round of applause to 125 years of honorable service of our Philippine Navy.
Thank you, Executive Secretary Luke Bersamin. Please take your seats. The Excellencies of the Diplomatic Corps who have joined us today, Special Assistant to the President, Secretary Anton Lagdameo, the National Security Advisor, Eduardo Año, National Defense Senior Undersecretary Carlito Galvez, honorable members of the Senate, honorable members of the House of Representatives, the Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces of the Philippines, General Andy Centino, Flag Officer in Command, Philippine Navy Vice Admiral Toribio Adasi Jr., Commanding Generals, Officers, and enlisted personnel of the Philippine Navy, my colleagues in government, other distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning to you all. In May 1898, a Filipino flag was hoisted on one of the vessels of the Philippine Revolutionary Navy, marking the formal establishment of our Navy. A month later, Philippine sovereignty was formally proclaimed. 125 years on, we are still relishing the independence that our forebears had won for us. Today, we honor once again their triumphs and their bravery. As we celebrate the Philippine Navy's 125th anniversary, we pay tribute to the institution and the men and women behind it, both uniformed and civilian, for they have continued the noble cause of defending the public sovereignty and keeping the peace. We acknowledge their manifold achievements and accomplishments over the years, especially the efforts to secure our archipelago, more significantly in the Batanes and Kalayaan Islands, the Philippine Rise, and the West Philippine Sea. We recognize not only their progressive naval and amphibious warfare skills that have earned international acclaim, but also the humanitarian acts that are likewise inherent to the calling of the Navy. Moreover, we recognize today's awardees whose individual exemplary performances are a source of inspiration and a spur to improvement for the institution and its ranks. Considering the changing tides of our national security and the significant gains that we have made in terms of internal security, our armed forces is working to recalibrate its focus more towards external defense of our borders. In this crucial transition, full support for the armed forces must be guaranteed, especially for the Philippine Navy's priority goals of enhancing its intelligence, defense, and coordinative capabilities. With the commissioning of the two vessels today, we look further forward to the completion of the AFP modernization program, more especially Horizon 3, which is significantly devoted to the naval aspect of our military operations. This endeavor will pave the way for the holistic transformation of our AFP into a stronger, modern, and formidable organization. By then, the AFP will be more effective in its military aims and more responsive to our national goals. We are keenly aware that the national interests are to be pursued in the context of the global order. The seas that stretch before us are not to be seen as boundaries that divide our nations, but they must be seen as channels for mutually beneficial exchanges and collaboration. Our Navy serves not only as valiant guardians of our seas and shores, but peaceful emissaries as well. Highly disciplined and experienced in international engagement, it adheres to the international recognized codes of conduct, such as UNCLOS and the recently approved ASEAN Guidelines of Maritime Interaction. In this line, it plays a significant role in our collective effort to nurture friendly international relations by fostering mutual trust and confidence, freedom of navigation and overflight, and, of course, safety of our seas. As it sails on towards the next century, the Philippine Navy remains ever relevant in our nation building and continue to be indispensable to the attainment of the aspiration of a more comfortable and secure way of life for all Filipinos. This is an opportune occasion to renew our commitment and dedication to the cause of strengthening our republic, of its peace and prosperity. And so, to the brave men and women of our Navy, in fulfilling your duties and mandates, being agents and exemplars for our citizenry, by working for unity and by championing respect for our constitutional order and the rule of law. Rest assured that as your Commander-in-Chief, this administration will work tirelessly not only to improve the armed forces, but are also looking for ways and means to improve your individual welfare and those of your families and loved ones as well. This is your Commander-in-Chief wishing you fair winds and following seas. Mabuhay ang hukbong dagat at ang buong sandatahang lakas ng Pilipinas. Mabuhay ang Republika ng Pilipinas. Maraming salamat at magandang umaga sa inyong lahat.
Thank you, Mr. President and Commander-in-Chief, Armed Forces of the Philippines.